Hello, everyone, and welcome to Office Hours. We are here as we are every week on Tuesday at 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern time. Amanda, thanks for being here with me. It's always nice to have somebody kind of to share the spotlight with here.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here as always. It's great to see you. How are things in your neck of the woods?
Oh, things are good. I was just telling some folks that we had a bunch of thunderstorms here over the weekend, and all the power got knocked out. So I had to reset up everything.
Oh my gosh.
Everything was powered on. We've got teleprompters and soundboards and speakers and microphones and all sorts of stuff. So I'm glad that it's all working now. But you had the same kind of storms roll through your place.
We had a bad storm, but we didn't lose power. Thank goodness. Knock on wood. We kept power up, so it was all good.
All right. Well, we have plenty of time to catch up and talk about things, but I want to make sure we cover off on a few of our announcements before we get started here this morning. As we've done, I don't know, it's 8 or 9 weeks, I think, in a row now, we've been giving a skill quality coach insight, which is very timely considering the team that we have on today. And I want to make sure that we talk about our tip of the week, which happens to be adding new functionality to your skill. Now, this may seem obvious, the idea of hey, adding new functionality, but you'd be surprised the number of developers that don't actually just continue to grow and add and think about the customer experience that they could be creating by adding new features. So one of the benefits of this, of course, is getting users to come back and find your new content and have more skill engagement by expanding the functionality of the skill, giving them easy ways to find new capabilities inside your software. But it also ensures that your new customers have reasons to find the thing as well. Maybe the new functionality is the thing that they were really looking for. Some of the examples I like to use is if you haven't already incorporated APL into your skill, adding that kind of functionality really changes the game on how your skill is viewed by your users. And I can tell you in the skill that I've been building over the past few months, that the APL, just the visuals that come along with it, when you look at that skill on an Echo Show, it's such a different experience being able to see a lot of the information that you're interacting with. So between that or ISPs or even simple things like one of the technologies I'm using inside my skill is something called slot catalogs. And it's a way for me to basically externalize a huge slot and update that on the fly without having to go through certification or anything like that. So even those little things can go a long way in enhancing your skill. But think about the next functionality you should build. Always have a to-do list of sorts. All right, Amanda, what do you have on your plate?
Well, I wanted to let y'all know that if you haven't checked it out yet, we do have a new course in the Alexa Learning Lab. It's called Introduction to Alexa Skills. It's targeted at beginners, so it kind of goes over a lot of the basics about skill building, not necessarily the code part, but just what parts of a skill you might need to consider before you're going to build your skill. But it might be a really good refresher, even if you're more experienced, because it goes over so many details of the little things to consider when you're building your skill. So check that out and let us know what you thought of the course over Slack. Over the next couple of weeks, we are going to be adding more courses. I'm working on these and it's fun. So we want to see your feedback on all of that.
Yeah, and one of the things I really like about Alexa Learning Lab, and I don't know about this course specifically, but I know it for some of the others, it also tests your knowledge, right? So it challenges you on do you really know this stuff and are you really an expert in it? Is that something they'd find in this intro course as well?
I don't think this one has a lot of quiz stuff. It's more of an overview. But what we wanted to have is a really nice overview of all the basics about Alexa skill building so that later on in later courses, we can kind of reference that in the future and say, go back to this if you're not sure about how such and such a thing works. So it's more of an overview.
Yeah, that makes sense. I know with the APL course, they do a great job of introducing a concept, teaching it to you, and then testing you to make sure that you really master that skill. It's really
and the APL has some sandbox stuff too. So our upcoming course is going to be more about using the developer console. So we're going to have a lot more code to cut and paste into the developer console and stuff like that.
Cool. All right. Well, do you? Well, I'll take it. So next week we also have a dedicated QA show. And the whole hour is going to be dedicated to just answering your questions. So as we normally have a guest on and we talk, for the first 15 or 20 minutes, next week we have no guest. It's just about you. So make sure you join us same time, same place next Tuesday. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, we always get a lot of questions in chat, and sometimes we don't always have time to address them when we have the guest. So I'll be listening a lot of times to your feedback. You just want to have a dedicated Q&A, so we'll have that for you next week if you want to come by. But if you have questions this week, feel free to ask.
Of course.
We do have some guests coming on, Jeff.
Yeah. So speaking of those guests, let's bring on Rajat, Deepika, and Shreyash, and welcome the three of you. Thank you for being here.
Hey, Jeff. Thanks. Hey, everyone.
So for those that may not have seen you on here before, I know you've been guests of ours in the past. It's always good to introduce yourselves. So Rajat, can we start with you and have you introduce yourself to the crowd?
Sure. I've I've been with Amazon almost 9 years. Been with the team for almost 8 years, just with Alexa. Uh, been part of certification, and now I completely handle a team of Alexa skill insights. We expertise on sharing recommendations so that we can help developers and to uplift their skill from from X point to Y. Yeah.
Very good. Shresh, you want to go next?
Sure, Jeff. So, hey everyone. So, I'm Shresh. I'm a part of the Alexa Skills Insights team, and I'm working as a program and
Oh, you got muted accidentally.
I'm sorry, I don't know what happened.
That's
Yeah,
all
so I
right.
was saying that I'm Trish. I'm working as a program and operations manager for Alexa over here, and I'm handling the Skills Insights team. And I've been with Amazon for a little over 6 years. So, yep, excited to be here and interacting with this group.
Very good. And last but not least,
Hello, hi Jeff. Hey everyone. Thanks for having me here. It's good to be on these office hours again. So I'm a process specialist with the Alexa Skills Insights team, and we check out all life skills and see if there is any scope of improvement and help developers improve their skills traffic and in terms of retention. I focus on helping developers monetize their skills. See if there are any ISP opportunities and share those skill specific product ideas for the skills. So,
got
thanks
it.
again.
Thank you for being here.
Great. Thanks.
All right, so I'm gonna lean into some hard hitting questions to start because I think we bring all these folks on from all these different teams. Sometimes it's good to understand not only that there are lots and lots of people working on Alexa, but what these individual teams do, and I think that helps our audience quite a bit. So the first question is a softball. What does the Alexa Skill Insights team do? Who would like to take that one?
I can take that.
Okay.
I can take that question, Jeff. So, Alexa Skills Insights team essentially specializes in providing curated recommendations to developers. So, if you have a skill, we test the skill, we find out what are the areas of improvement in a skill, and we reach out to the developer and work with the developer to help improve the skill. And we support all Alexa languages. So whether your skill is in English, French, Arabic, you name the language that Alexa supports, and we provide recommendation or we help the developer in all those locales. And our recommendations could be feature oriented, where we just help the developer identify that hey, you can add an APL or a shopping kit in a scale, or it could also be more nuanced, where we help the developer improve a customer experience by making softer changes, like how do you improve your welcome message, or how do you improve the stop message that you're providing to a developer. It's not just recommendations. We also encourage the developers to work with us on one-on-one office hours, where we work with the developer to address their questions that may have around our recommendations, or maybe help them with few of their technical queries that they may have. And our recommendations, we work very closely with the certification team as well to make sure that we are not giving any recommendation which might end up failing at the certification stage. In fact, we also try to handle to the developer and the skills that get submitted, so that they seamlessly pass through the certification process as well. And yeah, we to sign up for us, we have an email alias Alexa Skills Insights at Amazon.com. We can work, like developers can reach out to us on this, and we have a Slack channel as well, hashtag Skill Insights under Alexa community, and you can reach out to us with your queries over there. So that's a brief summary, Jeff, of what we do.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure I threw your email address on the screen. I think that's important for people to know. If you're looking for insight and guidance on the right way to approach a problem or a way to improve your skill, they have provided their email address as a way for you to reach out and get some of that guidance. So if you haven't already, make sure you add that to your address book. And if you have questions, reach out to them. I think they're looking for an opportunity to work with you. So that is fantastic. So okay, so we've talked about what the Skill Insights team does. As a developer, how do I sign up to get quality recommendations? I mean, outside of this email address or going to the Slack channel that you just mentioned, are there things that I, as a developer, need to do to be qualified for that kind of feedback?
We Yeah, sure. So we have a large pool of skills, Jeff. So what we do is we look at signals to find out which are the skills that we can potentially help. One of the very obvious signals that we look at is the skill quality score. We identify skills actually across the spectrum. Like we look at skills which are in the mid.
Suresh, we lost you on mute again.
I'm sorry, I don't know why it's going on mute. And then we also look at skills that are in the higher tier range, maybe around 4, and we find out how we can make it even more awesome. So from our end, we look at signals to identify skills, and a lot of our developers would be they will of course be finding emails from us where we send our recommendations to them. That's something we do initiate proactively from our end. And from developers end, if they have any skills where they reach where they want recommendations, so as I'd mentioned, we have email address and Slack channels, and they can reach out to us.
Got it.
So, how does your team suggest the right features or insights for a skill?
Hey, Amanda.
Go on, Deepika.
Yeah, sorry, Shreyas, you had something to add?
No, go ahead.
Okay, I'll try to answer that. Over time, our team has analyzed, thousands of life skills to understand what really works in a skill and what doesn't. And so, based on these learnings, we have created a sort of a framework on various parameters like engagement potential of a skill, quality of voice response in a skill, how to reduce friction in a skill, and more attributes like this. So when we pick a skill for testing, it goes through about 60 plus use cases before a final set of customized recommendations for a skill is prepared. Now, talking about these recommendations, right? The nature of these recommendations, some could be contextual recommendations that we can identify after manually testing a skill. So based on our testing results for any skill, we try to come up with suggestions on how to improve certain areas in the skill, like how to rephrase a welcome message or where to place an ISP upsell message to reduce friction in a skill. And So things like that. And then there are other recommendations which are more non-contextual, which we identify based on what are the features that the skill currently supports and what else it has the potential to offer. So we have recommendations for all types of skills. Some basic hygiene recommendations that we recommend a skill to have are to have a relevant skill title so that it's easily discoverable. We suggest the developer to set an easy to remember invocation name so that it has a better chance of recall among customers, right? And then have enough keywords for your skill, and especially go for words that you think your target customers are most likely to search your skill with. Then have a detailed skill description that conveys all features supported by the skill. Try to mention all different example phrases that highlight key intents in the skill that are supported. So these are some basic recommendations that we have for developers. And then there are some use case specific recommendations. For example, if a skill has potential for daily usage and offers functionality that a customer can get habituated to, like a prayer skill, right? Or something that offers a daily health survey, like it assesses your mood, asks you a set of questions, and basis that it analyzes what kind of a mood you're in or what is your health status for the day. uh, such kind of skills we recommend to have a reminders API so that customers who like the skill on first usage can add it to their reminders and probably come back to the skill, right?
Oh,
So,
yeah.
and if a skill has interactive features that requires repeated user input, then we suggest having sound effects. It can enhance the overall experience with the skill because such skills tend to keep customers engaged for a longer time period. And there are more I can go on, but yeah. Do you have any questions? You were
No,
asking.
That's a
no, I think
lot. Yeah.
that's great. One of the questions I guess I do have is that some of the things that you mentioned are really good best practices, right? Thinking about your keywords and the way that you write your descriptions, things like that. Some of this information can be found in small tidbits in the developer console or in our tech docs. Is there a place, if people were looking for a longer list of insights, things that they want to ingest early, so as they're building, they have that kind of floating in the back of their head? Is there a place that they can review these kinds of insights, or is this something that they can only get by coming to your team?
So, no, Jeff, I think we do have some of the articles written around these recommendations, as at least the basic ones. I'll need to look for that documentation, but I can share that shortly.
No,
But
that's quite all right. So
the
I know there,
information is available on public platforms for developers
I
to
know
have a
there
look.
have been some blog posts, and
Yeah.
I think I just found one here, so I'll copy
So
that.
just to add to it, the information over there won't be skill specific. When we test a skill, we share the exact recommendations with the developers that add these particular keywords to your skill for better discoverability. And then if we feel the need to recommend a change in skill title, then we exactly suggest what skill title would better suit your skill. So that's where I think Insights team can add value.
Cool.
That's great.
Yeah, and I think this is good. I'm actually going to try and take advantage of your services as well. The skill that I'm working on needs some help with a name, so maybe I'll tap into your insightful brains and see what I can come up with. That would be great. All right, so I think that's good. So you really take the time to analyze how a person's skill works, how a developer's skill works, and really tailor your insights directly to their skill, which I think is an incredibly valuable approach. I mean, it's time consuming, but it's amazing that we are able to provide that kind of service to our developers. Can you share an example, maybe something that someone has seen, or I know we've written some blog posts about some of these things, but can you share an example of a scenario where a developer's engagement, their skills engagement has increased based on the recommendations that you provided?
Yeah, I can take that, Jeff, and I'm super excited to talk about it because ultimately this is the end result of what we do. So there are a couple of examples, and these
Muted again.
articles of blog earlier. So one of the examples is from a skill which was a sound skill from a normality and humor category, something like a part or a verb skill. And we actually started working on the skill last year. We worked with the developer and we identified that it was a fun skill, and the interaction with Alexa for the skill was very plain vanilla, which was not really helping the skill. We worked with the developer to get SSML emotions added to the skill, where there are voice modulations which are there for the skill. Post that, once the skill got updated, we sorry, I really don't know what's happening, but I'll continue. So the skill really saw a great gain in on monthly active users. This is the story from last year, and we have continued the engagement with the developer this year. It's very fresh, like a month back. We worked with the developer to help this. It was a monetized skill. Now I also identify what are the areas of improvement in that skill, because the skill was gaining traffic, but the skill was not really gaining revenue. We identified few things. For example, the upsell was not very at rightly positioned. It was happening at, say, the fifth or sixth time. We worked with the developer to fix the upsell. The skill got republished, and in the last couple of weeks the skill has actually seen a great jump in revenue as well. So
Oh,
it
that's great.
kind of like working as a complete end-to-end flywheel, where updating a skill, helping the skill generate traffic, and monetization is and like it's something which a lot of developers want us to achieve. So we help with them with that. So that's one example. There are a couple of other examples as well. I can quickly talk about a very short one. There was another skill. It was a sound skill, but the introduction itself for the skill was very simple.
Your mic's gone out again.
Sorry, it was yeah. It was kind of a sleep skill, but
Mhm.
it maybe like 30 seconds just to give an introduction of the skill, which was like really disengaging the customer. So we worked with the developer to fix that part. Then the skill got promoted, the skill got traffic, and now we have worked with this. We have worked with the developer to monetize the skill. So there's the developer took our recommendations, and he has added high definition audio and looping functionality into the skill, which are like the premium features that the skill is happening. So yep, couple of these examples, and we have a lot more that we can talk about. But I just wanted to bring out a few of these to you.
Those are great. I feel like there's a lot to be asked in the world of monetization and how you build ISP and other things into your skill. I'm curious, is there a top list of recommendations for monetization? And then what about retention? That's a big one too, right? You want users to come back to your skill. So maybe you have some top recommendations around those things too.
Thanks for this question. Like, first of all, this is a question whenever we go in a one-on-one conversation with our officers, which Shreyas just mentioned that we provide that also as a service. Every time when developers come back, they say, "Hey, I'm ready to involve or update my skill with your recommendation, but will I see a traffic? Will I be able to retain the customers?" They always tend to find try different methods on their own, but they always still have this question: will this help me retain more customers? Now, if I take a step back and think, what are the two key ways a developer can retain customers? One would be to have a very good selected features, which Alexa already provides. Some of them like routines, reminders, uh, which has been talked about in these offices multiple times by various guests, like how routines helps to increase the engagement, how it helps to bring back the customers. So we have talked about it a lot of times, and we also encourage developers to use these in their skills. Second part, if I have to talk about, is on understanding the customer experience or building a stronger customer experience. Now, this itself is a very vast topic. You can build a customer experience from the UI standpoint, having more touch elements, creating more designs. You can use Web API, you can use a just APL with list and different tiles. So that creates an engagement. Uh, some skills, if I have to talk about games, a simple thing could be adding a leaderboard, right? So you can build a competition and stack rank your customers. Hey, this person is at this point, why don't you bring? So it also brings a retention factor that, okay, last time I played this game, this was the score, let me beat that score. Or in terms of ISP, offering free content, a good amount of enough free content always helps, right? A lot of customers tend to push the ISP, and customers feel like, hey, the, the skill is actually trying to sell me something. But rather, if you give a decent amount of free experience and then you want to monetize it for better experience, customer would be more likely to pay for it.
Right.
These are some of the basic, but from our experience from over the last couple of years, the top recommendations which we have seen implementation rate, where developers have taken the recommendation, implemented in them skills. If I have to talk about some top out of them, one would be save progress. Like, that's a memory saving is a very key in adventures and gaming skills, right? I can go back and continue the game from the point that I started. Uh, and if it's like Dungeons and Dragons or games like that, that's cherry on icing, right? Followed by, if I have to talk about features which you can use, like notify them, hey, you want to play this game again, or there is an update, do you want to recheck the skill? That also brings retention. One thing which, above all, which is very strong in the use case factor, is a daily check-in skill, like a weather skill or a daily motivation skill, where you have a daily fresh content. When a skill offers such strong use cases, customer tend to more rely on repeatness. Okay, I heard that skill, let me just try it one more time. Or that's a better weather skill, let me try that one more time. And they try to build more upon this, right? And these are some of the ones which have seen implementation: save progress, building notification API, adding fresh content. And in terms of ISP, once again, um, avoid upselling in the first instance. Like, whenever there is a first customer, if you upsell in the first instance, customers say, okay, I'm not going out. So if we give them a decent experience and then push it, probably they will have a better experience.
You want to get them actually using the skill for a little bit before you try to upsell them on some new feature of it and say, you know, you're really liking this. Do you want to try the premium version?
Right.
Very cool. Yeah. Yeah. I like what you said about the save games too. I think it would be really frustrating if I was playing an adventure game and like, maybe I have like cool items in my inventory and then I come back tomorrow and they're not there anymore.
True.
All
And
right.
when I talk about games, right, I'll just add one more.
Mhm.
Adding a robust language model also
Mhm.
helps a lot. A lot of
Mhm.
customers, if I have to talk about a chess game, if a customer is forced to say move the pawn from C to B every time specifically, it really loses the customer. Like he should be able to provide a different, just move the E2 to B2, something like that.
Mhm.
Right? So it makes creating stronger model always helps in increasing more interaction and better. Uh, and that's one of the good recommendations we keep on pushing to developers: create your models, make your models stronger so that customers can continue within the same skill.
Rajat, I would just like to add something to that. So, I mean, major part of these interaction skills are game skills, right? Where customers are asked questions and they tend to answer it in, different ways. They might not, they won't necessarily, utter something that is designed as an accepted input. So, one suggestion would be to have a diverse intent schema and support as many sample utterances in the skill as possible, so that any kind of user input as players are likely to utter something close to the answer, so that it doesn't cause any misrecognition. So that's really important for a game skill to have.
Great.
That's a good one. All right. Well, speaking of monetization, there was actually a really good point that Brian Tarbox brought up earlier as we were talking about monetizing. One of the things that he had talked about in the past is that he runs a Premier League soccer skill. And as a part of that skill, he has a monthly subscription that gets you access to additional content and information. And so the problem with something like sports is that it only exists for some of the year. And there's a part where we have an off season, right, where there really isn't a lot going on. And so he was really struggling with offering a subscription to his customers where they pay the same every month, even in the months where there really isn't a lot of new content or information because there isn't any football being played. And so what he said was a great suggestion was for handling monthly ISP subscriptions is to offer a discount to $0 during the off season. And so you continue to have the subscription, but you don't actually pay anything during those months. But then when the season starts back up again, they start charging you. And I've seen many examples of this kind of thing. I think that Major League Baseball does something very similar. They offer an amazing program. I prefer to listen to baseball on the radio. I mean, I like watching it on TV, but if I can have the audio of the radio broadcast, that's my preference. And so for $20 for the whole season, they give you access to every radio broadcast for every game.
Oh, that's nice.
But you only pay for it at the beginning of each season, right? So it's this kind of recurring annual subscription that comes through. But then they also offer a monthly option, which is just a few dollars. But they only charge you during the season, and then they take basically from October until April off again every year. And so it's basically a 6-month subscription, but at the end of when the next season started, it automatically kicks back up. So that's an interesting idea, Brian. The thing that wasn't clear to me, and maybe you guys can help me answer this question, is whether Brian was recommending this as an option or whether this is a suggestion that he got from all of you and has implemented. Because in my mind, I'm not sure how I would go about doing that. And so is that something that is possible today to be able to discount a subscription like that?
Discounting is an option, yes. Like you can, and this is something that can be scheduled much prior also, right? From this point to this point of the year or the months, do not have a flash sale or have a reduced price. Uh, I think in this case, Brian would have seen a lot of customers questioning in the comment section that I'm being charged, even though the skill is just providing the same old news or things like that, and he would have optimized it. But that's really good suggestion. Like this is something that a lot of developers can include in their skill. But slashing offers is definitely something that can be used. Like, but we discussed this in last time also that, and this feature a developer can put it for program it 12 months prior also, and with a span. So yeah, that's a Brian has given us a good tip that a lot of developers can benefit of.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Another thing that came up in the chat, there's a bunch of people that said hello and welcome as they joined the broadcast.
Hi, everybody.
So hello to all of you. But Gavin Watson challenged me on the idea that I mentioned that I had a lightning storm here over the weekend and that everything was turned off. And I will tell you, I do have a UPS for the machine. I'm protecting that as much as I can, but I have 40 devices here. There's no way I could have a UPS big enough to handle and power all of them. So I had to be selective. And so the PC, it was running fine for the 20 minutes that the UPS held up for. But the power was out for a few hours. So unfortunately it died eventually as well. But yeah, that's how it goes sometimes when you live in the Midwest. You get storms and thunder and tornadoes or who knows what else. And you just kind of deal with it. All right. Oh, Brian had another good question. And I know the answer to this. At least I know this is something that I recommend, but I'd be interested to get your take on this. What do you think about mentioning the skill name in the voice response when someone says stop or exit? Now, I think exit automatically quits, but if they say stop, if they hit the stop intent or the cancel intent, he says, on one hand, reminding the user of the invocation name is helpful, but we don't really want to say a lot when we're supposed to be leaving. So what's your perspective on that? Because there's a delicate balance there.
If I have to talk about conversational design in general, I would prefer to having a response. Now I know sometimes the intent is just to stop, right? And the action that we wanted to cut the instance at the moment, the session, and stop, let Alexa stop speaking. But from a strong conversational design perspective, it is always good to remind. It could be a teeny tiny thank you for using the skill. Do visit back, right? And it does not take a lot of time, like less than 8 seconds, right? Uh, uh, or and this is where I could sometimes also think of why don't we use an SSML tag to fasten the response? Hey, thanks for visiting. Uh, just to come back, just say Alexa this, and you'll be listening. So we need to be a little more creative in these angles, and we recommend developers to have a good ending statement whenever a customer is trying to exit out of skill.
Yep. Yeah, I'm very much in agreement with that. I've talked many times about a skill that I created, which I never published, called 3 Clues, and it was basically the idea of the skill was it gave you 3 random things, and you had to figure out what they had in common. And I really struggled with the name for a while, but ultimately I decided to call it 3 Clues because it was obvious. I was telling you about how you're going to get 3 clues, and then you need to guess what the clues mean, and then at the end I'm like, thanks for playing 3 Clues. And so that was exactly what I did in my stop message. And I did use some SSML to speed it up because I didn't want them to take a long time. But I did say something along the lines of, don't forget to come back for another game of 3 Clues or something like that, right? Just to remind them that, like, hey, if you just say that thing, you can play this game anytime you'd like. So yeah, I think a short, concise message that reminds users about what they should do the next time they come back or how to use your invocation name, always a good idea.
And he says that he did get the discount suggestion from Omkar. So,
perfect.
Thank you guys for the suggestions. Good suggestions coming out from the Insight team or anybody on the.
Yeah, we are relatively light on questions today.
Yeah, we're out of questions today. Don't forget to ask if you have questions in chat. I know the certification team is listening in too.
Yes, always.
So if we have questions from certification, more than welcome to answer. Otherwise, we'll just talk more about some best practices for getting your skills. It sounds like you deal a lot with folks that are working on game skills. Is games the most common type of skill to get an in-skill purchase?
Deepika, you want to take that?
Yeah, thanks, Rajat. Yes, Amanda, thank you for asking that question. Game skills have more opportunities to offer in skill purchases and especially varied, product types across subscription, consumables, and entitlements. So, yeah, I would say it doesn't take a lot of brainstorming to decide what type of product do you want to offer because it is a lot interactive with customers and tend to have more retention opportunities there also. So yeah.
Yeah, I always ask about games because that's my favorite thing. I'm a big gamer.
Right. So a very basic skill, right? If it's just a quiz skill that is asking you 5 questions per game round, there itself you have chance to offer an expansion pack to unlock more questions. You can provide categories, right? All of this provided the skill is eligible to offer ISP as per certification guidelines. So yes, and if the game is too difficult, then you can probably offer hints back using consumables.
Oh,
So
right.
there are
Like a hint coin. You could buy a pack of hint coins and then say I want to cash in my hint. That makes sense. Yeah. Another question from Brian Tarbox in chat. What are the rules for increasing or decreasing subscription prices? Because he's not sure how much you should charge for a new ISP. And I feel like we could dig into that question a lot too, because I think how much do I charge is a broader question.
For sure.
It is. Mm-hmm. It is really a broader question. And it can only, there is no one right answer to it, right? And it can come only through experimentation is what I can say. Like, and you can, the offer part is one tool which I can always say, hey, okay, you have set a base price, and why don't we just try to reduce it for a particular month and just see whether your purchases increase, or are developers ready to pay, the customers are ready to pay a little more on a reduced price, and use that feature to experiment on different pricing. Are there any rules? Probably there are no hard rules. It's a digital product. You're a developer. You'd have the control to regulate the price. And experimentation is what definitely will help in this case, and get you to the right amount of customers to charge on it and purchase more of your ISPs.
So you could set a price that you think maybe gut check will work. And if it doesn't work out, you could always just set a discount and say, let's see how a discount performs compared to the price I had previously set.
Yep.
Yeah, and I would also like to add, Amanda, that it follows like any marketplace and any product that you see. I mean, in general, right? Like there are different, maybe similar products which are existing in the catalog today. So you really need to understand or ask yourself, how is your product differentiated? Because in our experience, we have also seen few skills that charge pretty high, like maybe $8, $10, or even higher, and they're doing pretty well. They have a huge customer base and they're making a lot of money. But then there are some specific use cases which are associated with them. So it also depends on like how differentiated is your skill, what is the value that the skill is adding to the customer. If you feel you have a strong selling point, then you might go a little higher as well. Experimenting with few different prices would definitely help.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Makes sense.
That makes sense.
There was another question from Brian. Brian is our solo question asker today, which is fantastic. He is asking also about the nature of gambling information, and this is a touchy line because there is some very specific policy guidelines. The one policy guideline related to content is that you cannot enable end users to engage in gambling to win real money prizes or other tangible prizes. So that's pretty clear and specific about like engaging in gambling. So you couldn't build a video poker skill, for example. But his question specifically is around the Premier League itself, like the soccer entity, the football entity. They promote the bookmaker odds for each game. So they might say that, this team is favored to win, this team is the underdog, here's the odds on the sports bookmaker is offering. And he wants to know if he would be allowed to present those same odds in his skill. Obviously, he's not offering any betting itself, but he is providing that betting information. So this is just my interpretation, is that you probably would not be able to do that. And the reason that I say that is because while the guideline that I just provided, which is number 10G, I believe, there is also a specific section in the certification guidelines with the topic mature. And I'll read all four of them for you because you have to mark your skill as mature in order to be allowed to do these things. So they are: if you have frequent or graphic, realistic, cartoon, or fantasy violence or descriptions of violence, frequent or explicit references to drugs, alcohol, or tobacco, frequent profanity or crude humor, including insult humor or humor with the intent to offend, or simulated gambling or references to casinos and gambling culture. And it's this last one I think that really stands out to me, because you're not gambling, you're not providing any kind of gambling behavior inside your skill, but you are referencing gambling culture, which is things like money lines and odds making and stuff like that. And so I want to make sure that I'm reading this properly. Skills that pass certification but are not suitable for all ages are assigned mature ratings. These ratings are displayed on the skills detail page. So it would require your skill to be marked as mature just for providing those odds. And that could potentially limit you because there are lots and lots of kids that enjoy the Premier League, and they would now no longer have access to your skill if their parents had put those kinds of guidelines in place. So I don't believe it's engaging in gambling, but I do believe it is referring to gambling culture, which is where you would get caught up.
Well, that's a very thorough answer, but I'm glad you went through that because, like, example, you're doing something like a poker game that might be like a reference to gambling culture, which is still a little bit.
Well, and I mean, it sounds to me, based on what I'm reading here, that as long as you're not gambling real money, so 10 says in gambling to win real money prizes or other tangible prizes, that would be an absolute no-no.
Right.
But you could have a skill that's marked as mature that is simulated gambling. So you have free coins, and there's no way to win prizes as a result. I think maybe you could do that, and I think there are some like blackjack skills and some other simple things. But if you think about from a voice, I spent a little bit of time thinking about this, obviously. But back in my Windows Phone days, I built a video poker machine, right? You can play it on your phone, and so I had to understand all of the rules and regulations that went along with that, and so it's always been one of those things like that's a solved problem for me. I know how to build that. I have all the logic. I know how to go about solving that. And so I thought that would be a cool thing to do on Alexa early on. The challenge is if you think about
I don't know that one.
If you think about trying to play video poker or even real poker with only your voice and like holding the 5 cards in your head in memory, like it gets complicated pretty fast. And so I think that there are casino games, roulette, other things that you could probably do pretty easily. But at least for the thing that I was so familiar with, that didn't seem like a good solution.
Well, the screen devices make it easier to do that kind of thing, though.
They do.
Yeah.
They do.
So we got a few more questions in chat while we were talking, too.
Yeah. You want to take the one from A. Witters?
Yeah, sure. So question for the team. Does the Skills Inside team also provide input into the skill quality coach suggestions, or is that automated?
I can take that, Amanda. So yeah, actually we do. I mean, if you look into skill quality coach, it's actually comprising of 2 components. One is the skill design features, and the other part is on customer experience. So ultimately, the end objective for skill quality coach as well is to drive more customer engagement and dialogues, like basically to improve the quality of a skill. So the recommendations which Skill Insights team, our team provides, will help you improve the skill design elements as well. But they are very targeted. Like there are few specific elements that you need to implement. So it's binary. If you're doing that, that will help you move needle on that part. Customer experience is more nuanced, where we really try to help you improve the retention, which is all that we've been talking about. And if you do that, it will have an impact on the skill quality coach as well. So the short answer is yes. But we don't have a direct correlation that, hey, you do this, your skill quality score will improve by 0.2 points. It's more nuanced. It depends on how the customer perceives it, and how your skill quality score will improve over a period of time.
Great answer.
I think that's fair.
Next question. This is another good one. You mentioned games have a lot of opportunities for monetization. Yeah, definitely. But what other great classes of skills have you seen? Have you seen a lot of business or personal productivity skills?
Music and audio. That's another big category where we have seen a lot of skill, sleep sounds, a lot on those corner. Another category would be definitely productivity skills. A good amount of productivity skills also has seen increase in revenue. Customers like those. What else?
I think, Rajat, fewer skills, but these skills are doing well in terms of revenue because I think they have less competition as well, what I believe at the moment. So those categories would be health and fitness and education and reference.
Oh, okay.
And lifestyle also.
Yes, correct. Yeah, lifestyle.
You said
So
lifestyle?
what kind
A lot of meditation skills have good opportunities to offer ISP.
Okay. What kind of things fall into the lifestyle and fitness category?
So
Uh,
health and fitness would be mostly tracker skills, health tracking,
Okay.
there are very sensitive policy guidelines, I think, around it on what
Mhm.
is exactly monetizable. So,
Right.
by the way, might have missed to, cover this point earlier, but when we come up with these recommendations, right, we check it with our internal policy teams just to ensure that these are they abide by all of our guidelines so that later on, once these skills are resubmitted with our suggestions implemented, they don't run into any sort of rejections. So same is the case with ISP recommendations as well. We check it with the teams and understand that this is actually allowed. Only then we go ahead and share those recommendations. So I gave an example of health and fitness, and then most of the skills in lifestyle categories would be meditation skills and relaxation, ambient sleep sound skills.
All right. This is a good tee up, and maybe depending on how many more questions we get here, this might be a good way to put a bow on everything today. But Brian also wanted to know about this general question: is there an entity that he could present details to about what he plans to do, and get an advanced answer, ideally from the certification team, about whether or not that would be something that would pass certification? He doesn't want to put a lot of effort into something just to be told no at the end, which is obviously he doesn't want to waste a bunch of time. Is that something that he could interact with your team on, or is that something that we should try to talk with the CERT team about?
Yes, absolutely, Jeff. We do. I mean, they can always, Brian, you and others, we can always reach out to us. We'll redirect you to the certification team. But there is also another email address. I'm just fetching it. I'll share it maybe in a couple of minutes. And you can directly write to the certification team and have a consultation with them.
I believe it's that one.
Let me double check, Jeff. There's one more, which directly goes to the certification mailbox and they respond to you. So essentially, we are trying to create a two-way communication channel with developers to address their queries even at the certification stage. Even if there are failures, the certification team works with them to help them resolve what failures do they have. Give me a couple of minutes. I'll share it with this group as well.
That sounds great. But as you said, people could start with you, and then if they needed to be redirected to certification or something.
Absolutely.
Do you want to put that email for the Insight team on the screen one more time for those of it? We went through a couple just now.
Do that if I can find it again. There we go.
There we go. So if you want to reach out to anybody from Skills Insights, this is a place to email Alexa skillsinsights@amazon.com.
Yeah.
All right.
And
So,
I think majority of the developer community is active on Slack channels as well. So we have a group there also. So you can drop a note there, and we'll definitely pick it up. And
yep, and that's Skill Insights. That is the name of the channel. Just as a reminder for everyone, if you are in our Slack channel, our Slack community, and you have not already found all of the other channels that are available, when you join, there's 8 or 10 that are there by default. But if you look inside channels, there's 40 or 50 different channels on different topics, and there are conversations happening there as well. So make sure you kick that open and explore some of the channels that you may not have even realized were there. It's definitely worth your time. Prisoner 4044 had another question for you, and I'm interested to know the answer to this one as well. How much, or I guess, do we recommend using quick links and or routines to help users reconnect or find a skill that they've used previously?
We would sometimes have to see the skill. Like I cannot general like routines. Do routines help increase engagement retention? Yes, the answer is yes. But does all skills require routines? Probably not. So it's a very general question. If the prisoner 04044 sends us the skill ID, we might be happy to look at the skill and probably give the right suggestion here in this case. That would be my answer to this at the moment.
Great.
But we do recommend to developers to adapt routines, which always has been helpful.
Yeah, and just for all of you, if you haven't played with quick links, I cannot recommend it enough. It is such a simple way to direct people to your skill from your website or from your Twitter or literally anything. So much so that Amanda, have I demonstrated quick links here on Office Hours?
I don't know that I've seen it before. Why don't you go ahead and show? We've got a few minutes left to go.
All right, I'm going to share my screen here quickly. Let me load up the right
And you did ping the right alias earlier for email, the other one, developer communication team, if you want to put that one back up on the chat.
I like when I guess properly. So I'm going to switch the email addresses on the screen. You can now see this
That's
is
the other one to contact.
certification email address. Okay, so what I have is, let me go to my screen sharing here. Nope, not slides. Share my screen.
Work on it.
Share and go. Okay, so this is my own personal website. Everybody's going to go like grab my phone number and my email address and whatever off this. That's fine. But down here below, I have a couple of my skills. And so I added this try it now specifically without any styling because I just wanted to get these quick links up and working. And so this is how you could provide. So if you click on the logo here, this takes you to the Alexa Skills store. But if you click on try it now, this actually launches the quick link. And this is a page that is hosted by Alexa. All of this is handled for you automatically. But you can see it's showing me all of the information about the skill that I just selected. And then my list is probably longer than most, and it's embarrassing every time I show something like this. But these are all of my Echo devices. And so I can, with any of these, I can say, hey, launch my skill. And so just to show you how this would work for a user, I should be able to say lab.
It's not embarrassing. You work here.
Lab Echo Show 15. So that's this one here. And if I click on this, that should launch the skill here on this device.
Oh, very cool.
Ready to try the Skill Star Wars database unofficial?
Yes.
Here is the Skill Star Wars database unofficial, launched from the web or a mobile device.
There we go.
Hello. I was expecting someone with your reputation to be a little older. Ask me about anything in the Star Wars universe.
Stop.
Do or do not. There is no try.
Very fun.
So what's cool about quick links then is that anywhere you are on the web, if you want to be able to point someone to your skill, not only can they find out information about it, they can see the reviews, they can see the name of the skill, but they can also choose to launch it on one of their devices immediately without having to like go over there, talk to their device, unmute it or whatever it is. It's a really nice way to be able to let them interact with your software. So I love quick links and they're very valuable.
Great. Thank you for the demo. That was really cool.
Yeah, I think those are pretty great. And now everybody knows that I have a website, so you can go check that out.
Well, when I finally update my website, I can put something on there too.
Perfect. All right. Are there any other questions? We'll give people just another minute to add things in chat if they have anything else that they want to know or talk to the Insights team. Is there any other interesting stories or advice or guidance that you guys may have to share with our audience before we wrap up?
If we have to start with stories, I think it's a long list. We can keep going on because our team spends a lot of time. They'll just reiterate manually testing, curating the feedback, building recommendations, sending out to it. And we have, with these officers, Jeff, definitely we have some of the developers who have signed up for one-on-one office with us, discuss their challenges, brainstorm some ideas, and have also shown positive signs on submitting the skills or building new version of the skills in upcoming weeks and months. So that's a success story also I can talk about with help of these officers that has resulted. That's one. And from the tip standpoint, today we were discussing in our internal team that how the team has, developers have also evolved. Initially, they used to just come to Alexa platform to try out how to build a skill and just to explore the platform. But today, what we have seen is so many different kind of games, novelties, productivity skills, which has come to a different point. And every time developers are ready to make improvement and changes. So that's a big difference. And that's the one key thing that helps us keep motivated and start sending more recommendations to these developers, help these developers in all possible forms.
Awesome. Very cool.
Yeah, my last message, Jeff, on this call would be that I would request developers to look at our team as a buddy who would work with you through the journey and not just maybe for a recommendation or two. Think of us as your partners to work on one skill, then we should discuss another skill. And as I talked about a couple of examples earlier, to create a mechanism where we can continue to improve on skills. It's not just a one-time activity. So do feel free to reach out to us. We are eager to help you and see you grow, see your skills grow. And we'll also learn something on the way, and that would help us improve our understanding of what the customers want. So yep, looking forward to more developer requests, and when we send our recommendations to the developers, looking forward to more implementations that would also encourage us to do more for the developers and help them grow.
Thanks for being there for our developers and for being willing to do these one-on-ones. It really helps because I know people have a lot of questions about their particular skill, and it's just great that you're able to unblock people and also like brainstorm on how they can make things better. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I want to get you guys to a point where you're like, please, that's too many people. There's too many people asking us for feedback and insights and advice. I assume you guys are not overwhelmed today. But I think, a lot of developers, I think that they think something like that, some kind of conversation that they're going to have, like they need to be desperate or stuck or blocked on something before they're going to take advantage of this. Is it fair to say that if they just want to have a conversation about an idea or an approach or a feature that they want, that this is the right place to go?
Yes, it is. And the reason why I'm also saying this, Jeff, is because, when somebody reaches, say, a desperation stage, we've also seen a lot of cases where developers just give up. And there are a lot of skills in our certification pipeline where the skill was rejected and the developer never came back and resubmitted the skill. So please don't wait for a stage where you are desperate, where you might just end up giving up on the entire skill building process. Engage with us early on so that we can help you and handhold you to see you through and make you successful in your journey.
Perfect. All right. I think we've made it to the end of our broadcast. Amanda,
Awesome.
Thank you for being here. Rajat,
Thank you. Thanks for being on the show.
Trayash, this is always good to have the folks from the Skill Insights team here. This is always one of my favorite hours. We learn a lot from you guys, and the resources and the time that you are offering to our developers goes such a long way in making them successful. So I really, really do appreciate it.
And everybody out there, we'll see you same place and time next week. Me and Jeff, bring questions if you have them, and for questions on our team behind the scenes as well.
Perfect. Yeah, no guests next week, so we're here only to answer all of your questions. So make sure you load up and bring them to us. All right, with that, I'm going to sign off and say thank you to everyone for being here. And as Amanda said, we'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
you.